Hi, I'm Lieutenant Doug Nolte, and welcome to this edition of Behind the Badge, your behind-the-scene look at what's going on in the Wichita Police Department. Well, today we're going to talk false alarms. With me is the Assistant Alarm Administrator, Deanna Perkins. Deanna, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Well, today and through this show, what we're hoping to do is kind of give citizens a good education on false alarms, how we deal with them. And you deal with it pretty much 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, don't you?
Yes, I do, every day.
Well, good to have you here. Basically, when we were talking, you had mentioned around 2010, August 1st of 2010, there were some major changes, but the police department's worked with false alarms for quite a while now, and then some ordinances changed, and it really was kind of a significant change for how the city was doing it. Can you kind of just give us a brief history or background on what some of the changes were and why false alarms became so important to deal with?
Yeah. The change in August of 2010 implemented a few licensing changes for the alarm companies. It's a little bit more stringent now as to how they get licensed. And it changed for the alarm users in that now they have to annually register their permit for their alarm system. Before, the alarm company just registered it and that was that. Now the alarm user has to do it every year, and it's $25, which is a big change.
Sure. Well, okay, let's talk about alarms. Number one, you have to deal with them all the time. What are the alarm numbers? Do we have quite a few false alarms in the city?
We do. We have over 40,000 alarm users in the city of Wichita.
Wow, that's a lot.
And that combines both burglary alarms and fire alarms.
Okay. From
August 1st of 2009 to July 31st of 2010, we had 16,438 false burglary alarms.
Wow, that's a lot.
During that same time, we also had 1,602 false fire alarms.
Okay. With that many alarms, it seems to be that resources are a key issue. So give a little bit of understanding to why does the city want to bill for them? I mean, a lot of people think, well, it's just a way for the city to make some money. But really, that's not the case, is it?
That's not the case. That is not our goal. Our goal is to reduce false alarms through education, ordinance enforcement, and community resource management. The way we try and do that is to educate people how to prevent false alarms and to better manage their alarm system. We do charge for false alarms because it is such a huge resource draining aspect. In 2009, it was estimated we were spending about $3 million of city money responding to false alarms.
Wow, $3 million, that's a lot of money.
$3 million. Every time we have a false burglary alarm, it costs the police department about $60. And there are over 16,000 of those at $60 each. You can imagine why we charge for those.
Well, and I think a lot of people don't put pen to paper to realize how expensive it can get.
It can. And fire alarms are even more expensive. Fire alarms cost the fire department $1,500 each.
Wow. So
when there's those
big trucks showing up, it costs money to get the big fire trucks out, sure. Well, a little bit, we use a vendor called Cry Wolf that notifies us, but how does the city get notified about whether or not an alarm's good, false? Can you walk us through the process so citizens are aware of how we know if an alarm's a good alarm or a false alarm?
Yeah. What we do is the alarm company gets the signal from the alarm system at your home or your business. That signal goes to the alarm company's dispatching center. They attempt to contact the citizen or the business, determine whether it's false or valid right then. If they can't make contact with anyone, they call 911 and dispatch either police or fire, depending on what kind of a situation it is. Then 911 will dispatch accordingly, and there's a 4-minute cancellation time where if the alarm company gets a hold of someone and find out it's false, they can cancel that, and they won't be billed for a false alarm.
Okay.
If it's canceled over 4 minutes, you'll still be billed.
Okay.
If it's not canceled at all, the fire department will respond and the police department will respond.
Okay.
Determining a false alarm is up to those responders. They're the ones who are out there. Those are our eyes and ears. We trust their judgment.
Okay. Well, obviously, it sounds like that there was some thought put into some safeguards to make sure that it was a fair process. The alarm companies are able to at least verify. But then that 4-minute time frame, that's actually quite a bit of time.
It is.
And
we've actually looked at expanding that, but because we have so many fire stations and they are located perfectly throughout the city, their arrival time is estimated at 5 minutes or less.
Okay.
So in order to give them time to turn around and go back to the station, the cancellation time has to be at 4 minutes or less.
So you guys really put some thought into this.
Yes.
Very good. Well, let's say that in a situation where maybe someone is told that the alarm is false, or they have a dispute with how it is there anything a citizen can do?
Yes. The ordinance does allow for an appeal process. We need an appeal letter in writing explaining the citizen's side of the story. We need supporting documentation. Tell us what happened, why you think this was not a false alarm. Was there a break-in? Were you given a police case number? Was there a fire? Did firefighters put out the fire? Things like that. We need all the documentation. If you call your alarm company and ask them what sensor went off, what zone activated on my system, they should be able to tell you that, and they should be able to tell you whether or not they attempted to cancel it. If it's over 4 minutes, please keep in mind that is something we cannot waive. Okay. But if they feel they canceled it under 4 minutes, give us a copy of their dispatch history. We will look at that and we will take that into consideration.
Okay.
We also ask people to keep in mind that there is a $10 appeal fee for each false alarm that you do want to appeal. It won't be processed without that $10 appeal fee, but if your appeal is granted, we do return that to you.
When we talk about false alarms, typically there's something that causes it or is a problem that might reoccur. What can you tell us and educate citizens on how do we keep false alarms, or how can they keep false alarms from occurring? Because I'm sure there's plenty of things that you see that are very common.
One of the most common causes of false alarm is user error. Forgetting their passcode, forgetting their password if they accidentally set it off and the alarm company calls them. So we always tell everyone, train your users. Make sure you know your passcode. Make sure you know how to use your system. Another thing people can do is understand how the system works. Make sure they know for a burglary alarm how long they have to come in the front door before that keypad will set off the alarm system.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense.
There's also things for fire alarms, making sure that your smoke detectors are accurately placed. Don't place them too close to the stove. Don't place them too close to the bathroom, because steam from a shower can also set them off, not just smoke from food. Okay. We always ask people to visually inspect their system once a month. Go around, look, see if there's any wires falling down, see if there's a contact broken, see if your smoke detectors are working properly, make sure the batteries are charged, everything like that. Okay. If the contacts on your burglary system get dirty, most of the time they can be cleaned with a dry cloth. If there's something amiss, please have your alarm company come out and inspect the system, make sure that nothing is wrong. We also ask people to have their alarm company come out and do a thorough inspection once per year. Okay. Let them do an official inspection, make sure everything's working right.
Very good. Well, an excellent tips, but also I think any citizen should do their research on alarm companies.
Yes.
Any tips on how to help citizens find a reliable alarm company? What do you think are important steps?
There are a lot of companies out there. They all provide the same products, similar services. It's very important for the customers as the consumers to do their research. We recommend contacting the Better Business Bureau, the District Attorney's Consumer Fraud Office, the Attorney General. All three of those are very good resources to find out if there's any ongoing complaints with a specific company. We also recommend go online, check out their website, see if they have references listed, see if they have business licenses listed. A good alarm company will always have the proper business licenses and technician certifications. They'll be available to answer your calls 24/7, to not only update your contact information if you change your phone number or add someone to your calling tree, but they should also be able to tell you what their dispatching procedures are so that you know what to expect when your alarm goes off. All of those things are good things to look for.
Very good. Well, I can tell you that I appreciate you taking the time to explain some of this to us. Has there been any success since the alarm ordinance has gone into effect?
There has.
Have we seen a decline?
We have.
Well, tell us a little bit about that.
We're very, very pleased. From the previous year, before the alarm ordinance change in August of 2010, there were over 16,000 burglary alarms. That dropped to just above 15,000. There were over 1,600 false fire alarms, and that dropped to just above 1,500 fire alarms. So we've had a 7.3% in false alarms for burglary and a 5.5% reduction for fire.
Good, that's awesome.
That also means we kept spending almost $200,000
And that's, I think, very important to not only the responders' time, but to the taxpayers who have to pay ultimately for the services. Well, I guess, in conclusion, it sounds like there's a lot of things that citizens might not be thinking about when it comes to alarms, not only in terms of what it costs to respond to an alarm, and I appreciate you helping us there, but what they can do to make sure that they're not just letting their system be a problem without taking some care. What are some resources that you could suggest that anyone that wants to do a little bit more or get some more information or might have questions for you, how can they get in touch with your office, or is there a website that they can go to?
Of course. We have our alarm administration website is at wichita.gov, and down towards the bottom side there's a alarm administration link. Click on that. We've got our contact information there. We have a lot of good documents and resources for false alarm prevention tips, alarm user packets. We do have frequently asked questions in English and in Spanish.
Great.
And we also have our CryWolf billing vendor website, and that's crywolf.us/WichitaKS. Their phone number is 877-888-1355. Locally, we have Debbie Wynn is the alarm administrator. Her phone number is 316-268-4115. And I am Deanna Perkins. I'm the assistant alarm administrator, and my phone number is 316-268-4196.
Fantastic. Well, okay, I guess the question I really am interested in is there any breaks? Let's say a citizen accidentally doesn't call in, has that false alarm. Are they out of luck, or do we give them a freebie?
We do give one freebie. You get one free false alarm for burglary and one free false alarm for fire each permit year. If you choose to appeal that will be denied because it's user error. That's not something we can take care of. But if it's not your first free alarm, we do have an online alarm school where you can log into our CryWolf website, read the false alarm prevention material, and answer questions about false alarm material you read. If you pass that with 70% or better, we can take one false alarm free fee off for you each permit year.
Well, it sounds like you guys have really put a lot of time, a lot of effort to help the citizens in a very fair and equitable way, educate them, as you said, and then fairly enforce it. And of course, I'm sure I'd be the one that would set it off in my house. So it's nice to know that we have a way that guys like me would get a freebie. So
we are here to help. We try to provide options. We're not trying to take anybody's money all the time. We just have to enforce the ordinance the way it's written.
And certainly keep our taxpayers' money well spent.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to thank Deanna for being here today and explaining to us a little bit more about false alarms. And I would encourage anyone that has questions about false alarms to look into the resources or give Deanna or Debbie a call. I appreciate everyone tuning in for this edition of Behind the Badge. We look forward to next time. We'll see you then.